The Musabi issue has moved beyond a normal interview conversation. People are speaking about it on the streets. It is everywhere. It has become complex, emotionally charged, and dangerous in subtotal way. Mosabi has now done 2 interviews on JT podcasts. The first interview was raw, honest, and powerful. The second interview revealed something deeper: the limits of what a vulnerable person can safely say. This is where many subscribers fail to understand something very important: that truth is not only about what is said, it is also about what must be left unsaid for survival. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this wonderful YouTube channel that goes by the name Maxwell Lumumba Africa. Maxwell Lumumba is my name, a village content creator, a village boy, born and raised in a village setup with no jobs, no land, nothing at all. But at the end of the day, we have to survive. And our survival actually is through being honest and making things work the way they are supposed. Basically, this YouTube channel is an analysis YouTube channel where I'm speaking about what is posted in the public domain. So for those who have not subscribed to this amazing YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe, like, comment, and share this video to other individuals. And remember to turn on the notification bell so that any day, anytime I post any video, you people get updated. And watch these videos till the end without skipping any ads. For the lifestyle video lovers and we call it village logs, I have another YouTube channel that actually it is now 1 week old that goes by the name Vibe with the Lumumba. Lumumba is Lumumba, where you can see how the lifestyle videos are, how village logs and everything about it. So for today's discussion, we are going to talk about JT podcast interview session. That was such amazing. I was following everything systematically, step by step, and that is why now I've come up with my own analysis, what I think is good and why there's some things that Musabi never exposed. Let me start by this. Many subscribers expected Musabi to speak about Marwa's family, reveal private matters, say something that he was clearly not comfortable of saying. This expectation is unfair, irresponsible, and dangerous. Musabi is not a content creator with legal backing. Because we have seen Musabi. Initially, Musabi was not even a content creator. He had a YouTube channel, but he was not even posting. It has not even grown. It is through JT podcast. Now we can see even Musabi has a lot of subscribers. But one thing I want to encourage Musabi, maybe you're watching this video, yeah? Do some long videos, yeah? Don't just take these something like a long-term thing. Because, you know, one thing that people like about me, I perceive things like at long-term things, yeah? Do very long videos because, you know, we are not sure that these YouTube streets or maybe the survival of the fittest, and maybe those people who are willing to help you, will they really help you the rest of your life? Just make some long videos that you can keep, you know, because the audience right now, the subscribers really want to learn something about you. They are ready to help you. Just make some long videos so that at least it gets you monetized within a shorter duration. Having said that, okay, I can hear some noises from the school, but I'm very apologetic for that, yeah? It is not my wish, but I have nowhere to go apart from this compound so that I can be doing video from this compound. Just take it that way. Maybe in future when I'll be having my own land, I'll be having, maybe I'll build my own house. I'll be there comfortable with no noise. After this video, I'll be showing you around so that you see what I'm talking about. There is a school here making a lot of noise. You know how we call them baby class, yeah, something of sort. So what I'm talking about, that let us talk about this, that we have to know that he is not a former worker, a dependent, and a vulnerable individual. Forcing him to say everything is not seeking the truth. It is punishing someone towards possible harm. And when he becomes defensive, that wasn't dishonest. That was self-preservation. Yeah? Let me talk about this. Why the first interview was enough. In the first interview, Musabi did exactly what was necessary. He spoke about his own experience. He explained how Gitiriba chased him away. He described how he was treated like a dog. He spoke about the life inside the villa. He did not exaggerate. He did not fabricate stories. That interview was complete in terms of his lived truth. Everything beyond that enters dangerous territory. Because, let me say this, you have heard even yesterday we had one of the YouTubers saying that this issue has escalated up to the DCI now have been informed, and JT and Mosabi have to be watchful, especially when they're walking in Nairobi streets and everything. So they have to be watchful. So when you see this issue has escalated up to that point, we have to ask ourselves a lot of questions, because this is not something that people thought it was like. So when you see even Musabi not saying some things, he's really afraid about it. Let me say this. One of the most important things Musabi said quietly but powerful was this. Musabi thinks, actually Marwa thinks that he knows Gitiriba very well, but in reality he knows nothing. This statement exposes actually power dynamic, not gossip. Because when you look at Gitiriba behaved differently around Marwa because he benefits from Marwa's protections, he benefits from Marwa's subscribers, and he benefits from Marwa's visibility. So Gitiriba plays cool, humble, and loyal. That does not mean that he's innocent. That means strategy. Because the same Gitiriba, there is a video that he did. Gitiriba was used to call even the likes of Max, the host trainer. So that tells you that even though Gitiriba is behaving like somebody who is very, very innocent, but in reality, Gitiriba is now just playing silent when it comes to Marwa. Let me say my take. Why Marwa is not clueless. Let us be honest. Marwa is not unaware about what Gitiriba does. The reason nothing happens is not ignorance. It is control. Gitiriba is a faithful servant in the system. A servant who works hard, knows his place, protects the image, and maintains loyalty. This is why when even the Land Cruiser was crashed, because we remember that incident when Gitiriba took the Land Cruiser and went with it to Priska Sagati's place, and on return the Land Cruiser was scratched by the sides, and this one brought a lot of tension. This actually, after that happened, and there was a lot of tension, and what saved him actually is because subscribers intervene. That alone tells you that everything about the system, because how the system works is very different on how people perceive that things are on the ground. Let me talk about Mosabi, how Mosabi was exploited by both sides. This is the part that many people ignore. Mosabi worked for Gitiriba. Mosabi worked for Marwa, served two compounds, took instruction from the two bosses, received peanut payment. This is economic exploitation. Working for two people at the same time is not opportunity. It is intellectual slavery when there is no contract, there is no overtime pay, there is no rest, there is no off days. Let me talk about something like psychological violation. Or before I go to the psychological violation, let me talk about something like why am I saying that this is intellectual slavery? In Kenya, and the law says it very well. You see, in Mosabi scenario, there is no rest. Even in my yesterday's video, I was doing about it, where Marwa himself claimed that Musabi is not going home because of the situation that is happening at Musabi's home. Let us not use these. If you are an employer, don't use somebody's disability so as to make it useful in yourself. Because when you claim that the reason why Musabi is not going home is because how the parents are, how the father is very drunk, how the father beats the mom, a lot of issue. You know, when you're talking about people's family, this is not something that should be happening. Stop talking about people's family. Just give your employees rest period, because even in Nairobi we see how people are being given rest period. Because, you know, when you're being given this rest period, the employees say it good, especially for those who works in people's, we call them house bosses. We call them house boss, something like house managers. Yeah, those people who work in Nairobi as house manager, you see a lot of time, like Saturday, Sunday, they're being given time so that they can go chill outside. You can see them in the streets, you can see them on gardens, yeah, relaxing, enjoying their moment. That is how we are referring to. But in this situation, when we talk about Musabi was not given something of sort. There is no off days because of alleged what Marwa said, and there is no any contract. And when we're talking about payment, there is no overtime payment. You know how law in Kenya says, because when you are being given contract, because I myself have worked before, when you have been given contract, it actually stipulates that any time that you work above this, because, you know, working hours in Kenya is mostly as from 8 a.m. to around 4 to 5 p.m. Anything above that, especially when the company has sent you or you have worked overtime, you're supposed to get a payment, a different payment. But in this situation, you get that even Musabi himself wakes up very early in the morning, as from 6, and sleeps late hours. Yeah, you know, he sometimes spends time in the villa up to even odd hours, around 10, 11. Coming back in the morning, you have to wake up. Yeah, remember, I'm talking about working in 2 compounds. That is economic exploitation. Having been saying that, let me talk about something like psychological violation, the boxer issue. One detail that actually has shocked people deeply, even I personally, it has really shocked me deeply. Musabi was washing Gitiriba's boxers, Gitiriba socks, yeah, personal, let me just call them this, personal undergarments. This is not normal employment. This is violation of personal boundaries. No worker should be forced into intimate servitude that strips dignity. That alone explains Musabi's silence on certain topics. Because, you know, when you try to dig deep in this situation, you'll be like surprised. You'll actually hear a lot of information, a lot of things, a lot of allegations are really coming up. Yeah, because you see, you know, in a village setup, let's say, for example, if you're married or you're not married, something like boxers, these are things that you have to do by yourself. When you go to shower, you have to wash your boxers. When you are washing your clothes or something like socks, you have to wash your own socks. Yeah. Now you see that Gitiriba is now even making Musabi to wash all these things. That environment was not even conducive. You know, I was surprised even Marwa himself knew about these and actually told Gitiriba that this is not good. You're supposed to wash these things by yourself. You know, this now tells us that when you become a village boss, You can rule over people the way that you want. And this is very evident with what Gitiriba is doing. So Gitiriba is now taking this as an opportunity to exploit and to make you work even some stuffs, your personal undergarments. You know, when I heard about that information, me as a man, I was almost even crying, because this is something that is not supposed to be happening. Yeah. Let me talk about the most telling moments, the interview. When Musabi was asked, will you work for Marwa since Marwa never chased you? And I really liked that question. And it came from one of the YouTubers, yeah? One of the YouTubers that we know. And from Mosabi, Mosabi said no. That single word is louder than any allegations. You don't refuse safety unless the environment was toxic, the power dynamic were unhealthy, the emotional pressure was unbearable. You don't need Mosabi to insult Marwa. That no is already spoken volumes. Mosabi saying this, he understands how the environment at the villa is very toxic. You know, when you make your environment that people cannot even survive there, yeah, it becomes now susceptible to some of the individual. It becomes very hard. That is why even Mosabi himself is saying that I can't really work for that. Leaving even that aside, you know, even from an intellectual perspective, I was working, let's say, for your neighbor here. Then, after having been dismissed from this neighbor, I come working at your place. And I'm passing the same road when I'm getting into your compound. It does not act well. It really does not work. Actually, when you perceive these, even though at the end of the day, people are looking after money, people are looking after what? You know, what matters is money. That is what villagers and we Africans say, that at the end of the day, when you get money, that is the end of it. But look at it, because Musabi knows it very well, that if I'm just from here, even though I was working I cannot still stay in the village and work for these other person. It becomes very hard. Yeah, it becomes very hard. Even for us, it can't really work that way. Having said that, let me talk about the consequences of forcing people to speak. Let me be very clear, because in the second interview, what we saw, yeah, forcing someone to speak lies or half-truth leads to not even lies, yeah? Okay, you know, what is now happening is that people are now wanting to know more details about the villa, about Marwa, about the family and everything. So let me say this. When somebody speaks about somebody, it leads to legal consequences, social retaliation, and physical danger and psychology breakdown. Yeah, because we know it. Musabi choose wisdom over entertainment, and that should be respected. Musabi never wanted to get himself in trouble, because the way he said, there are already threats that when Musabi will be back to the village, there is possibility that he is going to be arrested. I know people will come out and help, but this one will still affect him physically and psychologically. Because, you know, being arrested is not something that we can take it like an easy thing, yeah? In most cases here in the village, you know, those police cells that you see there, the reason why people don't want to get themselves in those police cells, because it is much of physical injuries, yeah? You can even be slapped, you can be, yeah? And even you know that you are now living in an environment that you don't have even freedom for movement. You're just enclosed in a place, yeah? No sun, nothing. That affects you psychologically. And so, you know, Musabi not speaking these words tells you that something deeply, that If Musabi could reveal everything, people were expecting that Musabi could reveal that maybe this is what Marwa does, this is what made Rocio to escape, this is what we call her Marwa's mother, Congrats mom does this is what Marwa's dad or daddy does this, People were expecting some of the question like that. That in the capacity of Musabi, it wasn't very possible because, we have to understand, we come from the village, and some of these things, when exposed, it will be bringing a lot of tension because, the only place that people don't, let me talk about actually the consequences, the employer consequences that people ignore. Any employer who makes someone, actually, let me just leave about that, yeah. So I was talking about the Musabi issue. I really like how he responded to those questions, because that is for his own benefit, not to bring himself in problem. Because at his age, when you start getting yourself in legal issues with authorities, is not something very good. It is ruining your reputation. It is like ruining your life, yeah. Now that is it. Now let me talk about now employer consequences that the people actually ignore. And let me talk to the employers, and any employer who makes someone work from Monday to Monday, gives no rest days, allows overtime until late odd hours, and pays peanuts, shares labor across multiple bosses. And that is very evident with Musabi's issue. Yeah, there's some things that they can face, and I'm going to tell us the consequences that are socially and legally. Because if somebody does that, the employer faces consequences, and the first of the consequences is burnouts and mental collapse of workers and public exposure, and legally liability sooner or later. And in some case, somebody can lose what we call it loss of moral authority. Exploitation always returns. Always. I'll just say that it always returns. So what I can say from my end, and this is my stand, Musabi did his best. He spoke where he could, he stopped where he must, since is not always fear. Because when you try to remain silent, it's not that you are fear of something. Sometimes silence is intelligence. And anyone angry that he didn't say everything should ask themselves that, would I risk my safety just to satisfy some individuals or the subscribers? Yeah, that one should not happen. So this story is not about who talks the loudest. It is about who survives with their dignity intact. Yeah, that is what I can really tell. So for those who have not subscribed, subscribe, like this video, share this video to other friends so that they can be liking this video. Yeah, let them subscribe, because more of these things are to come. And that being that, I'm very grateful. Wait for another video. Today I want to upload 2 videos, so wait for another video and everything will be working out fantastically well. Let me just remain silent from that point. Let us meet in the next episode. Yeah, I promised us that when I'm done with these actually content for today, I'm going to, nothing actually has changed. Yeah, everything is intact. Me with my pazia the way they are. Yeah, today morning I woke up very early. I was doing some cleaning. You can hear noises from the school. The school is over there. You can see even some student passing here. Yeah, these are the timbers that remained when I was making some cow pen there. I've not added any animal with me because the animals are very expensive. Yeah, so everything is working out. These are feeds of the animal that I brought with this wheelbarrow, because when I wake up in the morning, I have to do some thorough cleaning in this compound, because Shem is not around. I'm usually with Shema, and he's not around here, but he lives somewhere else. Yeah, you know, during the day I'll be going to graze. Those animals are waiting me so that I can go graze them. Yeah. Then here I have the chicken over here. This is my beautiful chicken. Yeah, I really appreciate what is happening. I really appreciate. Yeah, the number is good. 14 of them. That number is good. You can see every morning I have to put feed for them. You can see like now I've just put some stone up so that they cannot take it down. Yeah, this one I've put some stone, even the other one it has some stone. Yeah, they're very peaceful. You can see they're enjoying their meal and they're very healthy, very healthy. You can see even others have just patched their up. You know, chicken like patching themselves. Today I'll be putting some more rails so that they can be patching on those rails, so that, you know, they are like birds. They like when they are patching themselves more than maybe when I left them on the ground. Yeah, these are the animals here. The animals are here. I've taken time before I do some cleaning here, but later in the day today I have to do some thorough cleaning, because I've been busy up and down. Sometimes I go to the shamba. Like yesterday I went to visit my corn farm, and actually I'll be harvesting very soon. I just started farming with just 1 acre. Maybe this season I'll be increasing the acreage, yeah? Because I want now to start big, because that is how I can really survive in the community, through the hard work. Yeah? That chicken is there down. Yeah, there is a black chicken here. This one is brooding. I never saw it. There is this black chicken, the naked neck. This one, this naked neck, the black chicken here. Let me show you very well. This one, the naked neck, it is now feeding. I don't know, it is feeding on what, ugali or what? Yeah, it is feeding on ugali. So this one has brooded from this point. Let me show you where it has brooded from. Oh, they need some sun. Yeah, this chicken needs some sun. I don't know what to do. And that transparent mabati, the transparent sheet, is very expensive in Kenya. It is like 1,800 shillings. I can't really afford that. I need to get an iron sheet so that I can place it there, so that light can really enter inside here. You know, one of the things that chicken need is a lighting system. You know, lighting system helps them to lay eggs, because it penetrates through their eye retina going, because it has to trigger those hormones, things that, you know, how that cycle, the biological cycle goes about egg formation. So actually light is the one that plays a very big role. Yeah, so having no light here means that I need to get lighting system here, so that to make these this chicken lay eggs. Having said that, beautiful rabbits. Beautiful rabbits are here. It seems that one has given. I can see some cotton there. I don't know if it has given birth or just preparation. I don't know even if they are pregnant. I think we don't have a male here. There is no male here. They are both of them the female. So the other chicken is brooding from that point there. It is brooding from that basin, the black basin that we see over there. That basin, it is brooding from there. That is where I thought it was good to brood from there, because it is very peaceful and very safe, because no any other chicken that make it very safe to brood from that point. Having said that, that is now the end of our today's discussion. I'm very grateful. I'm very happy for you people who have stayed tuned, yeah, and make it happen. Goodbye for now. Let us meet in the next video. Goodbye.